Well, my favorite flea market has been on pause for the last couple weeks because we've had the fair going here, but I have managed to find a few cool things to share with you guys. The first thing is all these Mego Star Trek figures. I got all of these in the back from one place. It's pretty cool because most of them have their weapons and they're actually in pretty good shape, and it's really nice to find a Gorn. Usually you find the Star Trek characters, but you don't find any of the aliens, so really cool to find a Klingon and a Gorn. And then at a separate place, actually at a garage sale, I found this carded Spock. So, kind of cool. He's got a little bit of discoloring from dirt that's creeped in somewhere. Don't know where because it's still pretty sealed, but it's got a nice crease here, but, you know, it's a really nice find for a flea market, or for a garage sale. And this, yeah, I didn't even get the garage sale in the morning. It was one on Friday, and I went, you know, at noon, and it was still there. So, really cool to get that, and the other Mego figures. And did pick up a few things at some of the other flea markets, the weekend flea markets, which I find stuff there, but not usually as cool. But got a nice G1 swoop. His head's a little floppy, but, you know, decent shape, missing some paint. You can see a bunch of, I say newer G.I. Joes, but they're late 80s and 90s G.I. Joes. Not in the best of shape. This guy's obviously missing a hand. You know, just got paint wear, lots of paint wear, all of them pretty floppy. And picked up a couple nice Star Wars figures, a couple Gamorrean guards, nice little Luke Skywalker with a lot of paint rub, and my first ever Visionary figure. I'm usually not a collector of these, but this one actually had his chest plate, which was really cool, so I picked him up. I just don't see a lot of these figures, but I never collected them. More odds and ends. Got a Twiki. Can't not pick up a Twiki. And one of the commanders from Flash Gordon. So, I want to find me in the Merciless and the Flash figure, but so far this is the only Flash Gordon figure I've found. More odds and ends. The instructions for one of the mini rigs. The Energizer. It's kind of cool random stuff you get. Nice little collector booklet. And Return of the Jedi button. Kind of cool. Let's see. A couple little Transformers. I think they're broken and missing parts, but still pretty cool. And one of the people I usually buy from at the flea market actually sent me a message. They had some Star Wars bits for me to look at. So I went over there, and they had this, which, yeah, I don't quite frankly know what I'm going to do with it, but, you know, I got it with the rest of the stuff. Missing its wings and obviously, you know, everything else, but I don't know, make it into a diorama, do something. But I never got one of these. They were too big. I deal mostly in the 3 3/4 stuff. The 6-inch scale I just never really got into, but now I have the tie body. But the reason I went over there is they sent a picture of some of this. And as you can see, we got a few headless Darth Vaders, a headless Luke Skywalker, but he's got his head. The pilot for the TIE Fighter, and a couple of newer figs. A nice FX7, broken, but that's cool, and a lot of newer weapons. But what also they had, I guess, well, here's a cape, broken cape, but also they had is a container full of vintage weapons. When I first looked at this, I knew there were some fakes in there, so I offered them what I thought was a fair price, but then after I got home and started looking at everything, there were a lot more original vintage weapons in there than I thought. But, I mean, this is kind of insane, and I've never found something like this before, where you get 3 headless figures and then a container full of vintage weapons. Usually you get all the figures and no weapons. So apparently this is where everyone's weapons went. to these people. I don't know where they got this, at a garage sale, I would assume. But, I mean, there's some good stuff in here. I mean, the Man-O-Man's weapon. Got the Leia blaster. A couple indoor blasters. And somewhere around here, I think I have the black indoor that went with the A-Wing pilot. Somewhere in there. But yeah, so it's about 66, there it is. You got a little black indoor A-Wing weapon and the Imperial Gunner weapon. But all in all, 66 vintage weapons. Some newer stuff. So this was really cool and definitely made my day. And if that wasn't it, it also came with the Ralph Macchio figure, which, you know, who can turn down the Karate Kid? But I haven't figured out how to make his foot stay down, so he's got a button on his back that, as far as I can tell, doesn't do anything, but I think it's supposed to snap into place. If anyone knows how to make his leg stay down so I can stand him up, please let me know. Because it's a cool figure and I'd like to display it, but, you know, he doesn't stand up very well. So, oh, and I guess one last little thing I got, not as cool, but interesting, is pretty much the shell for a Sonic landspeeder, which I don't have, so I picked this up. It's pretty much missing all the pieces, but it has one of the battery covers, so, you know, it's a start to my landspeeder. Now I just need all the other pieces. But that's it. The flea market will be starting up again this Wednesday, so hopefully I'll have some more finds, but in the meantime I did get this few cool little pieces. Like I said, still blown away by the weapons, and, you know, I'm super excited about the Gorn figure, because it just rocks. So that's it, and keep hunting.